Yay. Perfect.
Ah,
Lafia.
Lafia, chez Lafia ni.
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, I can't.
Ah,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Just
I
trying
couldn't
to,
hear you for a second.
just trying to situate this thing here while I'm driving. How's your day going so far?
All right. Dada Neo.
What
Okay.
for that?
How, how was your day?
Oh, it's cool. It's cool. You know, not too stressful.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Not too stressful. Hold this thing. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so while you get that adjusted, guys, this is episode 4 of the issues on a vegan diet. I just want to run through these disclaimers really quickly because I just know that people can get it wrong and think that I'm purposing to make somebody who's vegan not vegan, and I'm not purposing to do that. My goal is to get more people who are having similar issues that I was having, that so many more of us are having, for us to be able to let you guys know that like we are having issues on this vegan diet. We did have issues, and for a lot of us, it really destroyed our health. And two things. Number one, you do not need to be vegan to be healthy, and you surely do not need to be vegan to be spiritual. And this, if any other episode, is going to prove that last one. You don't need to be vegan to be spiritual. So I just wanted to get that disclaimer out there so that nobody's thinking that I'm purposing to attack anybody. The goal really is just to allow others who are having the issues to know that they're not alone and that you don't need to be vegan to be healthy. So if you're having issues, you need to get off of that and do something different. So my guest today is a very special guest because this is one of the first times that I'm able to have a guest that I can really go more so into why veganism is not needed to be spiritual as well. He's laughing because he knows exactly what I'm saying. And and also too, you don't need it to be healthy. So without further ado, I would like for my guest to introduce himself, and just let us know who you are, what you do, and how long you were vegan.
Uh, they call me Black Panther or Baba Okujimi. That is one of my, I guess you could say, titles, being that I'm an Ogun priest or an Ogun in the Ogun tradition of what we call Isheshe Lakba, which is what most people commonly refer to as Ifa. Um, so I am the founder or co-founder of the scholarship group known as the Masi Warrior Clan. We are a scholarship group that studies African phenomenon from all sides, archaeological, genetic, historical, spiritual, the whole 9 yards. I was a vegan for a year and a half, starting in 2015.
Hold on, your video is messing up. You paused for a second.
Oh, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
there we
Where
go.
where did I leave off at?
Oh wait a minute, hold on. Your video is still paused. Okay, hold on, guys. 1 second. Okay, so he'll be back on. But like I was saying, this is going to be a really great one because I know that it's so many times, you hear people talking about. Oh, 1 second, it's coming back on. There we go.
Hey, sorry about that. I must
No
have went
problem.
through a little area. Where did I leave off at?
Yeah, you were saying you were vegan for a year and a half.
Yes, starting in January 2015 and ending in June 2016.
Okay, all right. And like, what made you go vegan in the first place?
Well, around 2015, I started to do lectures in the quote unquote conscious community. So I was around a lot of people, a lot of quote unquote top vegans, as I should say. I was around KT the Arch Degree. I was around Minister Inky. I was around Ali Muhammad. I
Okay.
was around Red and Blue Pill. And all these guys are Sebiites. They swear by Dr. Sebi. So,
Mm-hmm.
and being around them and listening to them and going to conferences and the
Mm-hmm.
social interaction, I said, well, I might give it a try.
Yeah.
And really, I just wanted to lose some weight
Mm-hmm.
because I had picked up some weight, and I was like, well, let me see if this will get me down to the size I want to get to. And then, I was reading Dr. Africa's books. I was reading, uh, you know, all this information that came from these people at the time. So I said, well, I'm going to give it a try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's similar to myself. I mean, and you dropped some big names, by the way, guys. Those are not like little names in the vegan community. Those are huge names in the vegan community. A lot of who we reached out to, and some of those people who are no longer vegan. I'm not gonna say specifically who, because
Yeah,
they chose when my friend Karen decided to reach out to them. Some of them chose to be anonymous, so I'm gonna maintain that. But a lot of them are no longer vegan. So all right, so you went vegan really to lose weight, and because it was like what was going on around you, you saw that, and that was the same thing with me. It was like I'm seeing other people that I'm around, and it doesn't look too bad. You know what I mean? It looks like it's on that spiritual path and the health thing kind of going together, right?
right.
Yeah. All right, so let me ask you, like, what made you realize that the vegan diet wasn't for you while you were a vegan? Well, actually, what were you eating on a vegan diet?
Well, I was in a unique situation. When I started my vegan journey, I was working in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
So it was really easy to get like fresh fruits and veggies. And, they had these big markets, and even in their grocery stores, they had a lot of like falafels and all of the foods that, I would hear people talk about when they were transitioning.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was following, Sabi's information. So I would just pick this stuff up from the grocery store and, you know, navigate it the best I could.
Yeah.
Even something like vegan cheese and
Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff, I was using that stuff at first to transition, but then it was more just fruits, vegetables, you know, some starches here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really just trying to follow the diet that these guys would talk about to the letter, so I could get the maximum results.
Right. And that's interesting too because I think you may be the first person I talked to that was in a place besides maybe the last guy who lives in California, but you're in a place where it's like straight up ideal, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. They're
Yeah.
not like heavily spraying everything.
Uh,
They have different quality for their food, different standards.
yeah,
So
it was a really good experience to just to get that side of the world and see how they treat their produce. I
hmm
mean, even aside from the vegan thing, it was just good to experience.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. And so you were saying that you had Dr. Lila Africa's book or Lila Al Africa book and also Sebi's book too, right? Well, not his book, but you
Well,
followed
I
his
didn't have a
teaching.
book, but I used to look at his lectures a lot on
Yeah, yeah.
YouTube, and then I don't know if a lot of people don't know, but KT the Arts Degree is his stepson.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Annette Thomas is what was Dr. Sebi's wife, what they
Wow.
call Mama Pill. So
Whoa.
Mama Pill, who is Red Pill and Blue Pill's mother, so all of those people are related.
Whoa, you just blew my mind. I didn't know that.
Yeah, all those people are related. So that it's a family affair, so to speak. So I met Annette Thomas in Harlem right before I made my decision.
Hmm.
Well, no, it was after I made my decision. I was home on vacation, but I met her, and I met KT before then, and KT was living in Atlanta. So we used to build all the time about veganism, on the phone, and he would tell me a lot of the things Dr. Sebi used to tell him, and a lot of experiences, and just things of that nature. So I got a kind of a lot of inside information on how he formed his camp, and
Hmm.
on the claims of cures, and even things around the his ultimate passing that a lot of people don't know. But that was my experience just building a relationship with those guys.
Whoa. So, okay, first off, guys, this is his first time even speaking about his experience as a vegan. So I'm honored to have that on here and to be capturing this. Second, I didn't even know the lineage. So you just broke that down for me, and it makes sense now why certain people chose to remain anonymous or just kind of gave hints that they were having problems but didn't really come out and say it.
Oh yeah,
Because
I've never told this story because I didn't want the backlash. Honestly, I didn't.
yeah,
I was fighting so many other stuff. I didn't have time for the vegan mafia to come after me.
facts.
But if you look at the names, it gives you an indication that they're related because the red pill and blue pill, most people think about the Matrix,
Yeah.
but those two names are representatives of pillars. And if you know anything about a Masonic lodge, there is an arch between the pillars uh, in the Masonic lodge. So that is why his name is Arch Degree. KT the Arch Degree is a Masonic, indication. Not that those brothers are Masonic, but they took the symbolism. So he is the arch between those two brothers, and that's just something that they did, and it's not a secret. They'll tell you if you ask them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's just that's how they connected their family through their stage name, so to speak.
Yeah, okay, no, that makes sense. And you're right, it does come off as like the Matrix, but really it's a lot deeper than that. So okay, and that's cool. But I never knew that you were that deep into it. So this is really
Oh yeah,
important because you weren't just like only listening to Dr. Sabi's lectures like a lot of other people. You were actually connected.
yeah,
So that's totally different than just, oh, I followed what you said online and it didn't work. You were getting firsthand information.
yeah. I mean, Minister Inky. I've taken his products. I've taken KT's products, and they were big time Sebi students, or
Hmm.
what I call Sebyites. So um, I was around when they were, his 40-day fruit fast. I was around when he created that.
Wow.
Um, I was around when KT started selling Baobab powder and
Okay.
Fonio. And for people that don't know, Baobab powder is uh, mostly found in West Africa, but in particular, it's really popular in Senegal and Gambia. And Fonio is a grain that is most popular amongst the Dogon people of Mali. So I was around when these guys were formulating their, business, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting you say that though, because it all makes sense because I remember seeing you and Ali Muhammad I remember seeing you guys on Sonetta oftentimes. And I would always be like, who's this Black Panther guy? But I just never looked too deep into it. Because I didn't really watch too much of Sonetta. I just only watched certain things because I was in the whole hippie thing and you know how that goes. So, a time ago I was in that. So, okay, I really appreciate that. Like, this is so good because this is even better than I thought it was going to be. I didn't know. Because I didn't know. Just because, like, everybody says, "Oh, you did it wrong," you know, and you have so many people who are like, "Well, you know, Sebi said this and Sebi said that and Sebi said that," but it's just like to have somebody that was so connected, and you know, to hear your story now, it's just like, wow. So, what made you realize that veganism was not working for you?
Well, to be quite honest, at first it was great. At first, had a lot of energy. I was losing the weight I wanted to. Um, it was. I felt lighter. I didn't have any problems at first, but after I would say about 8 to 9 months, I started having issues with my muscles. I was getting hurt a lot. Like, and for me, I play basketball. Basketball is always my first love. It's
Yeah.
something that I've been playing my entire life. From high school to college to semi-pro. So I'm pretty familiar with my body and recovery and what I need to do if I get hurt and stuff like that. But I was getting hurt like I was getting hurt like I was old. Like I was getting hurt like stretching in the morning and like 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 I was getting hurt. I felt like unnecessarily like my
Yeah.
shoulder. I had a shoulder issue for probably like years, even after I stopped being a vegan.
Damn.
I had these shoulders, and I didn't have these shoulders issues prior to, and I didn't do anything to my shoulder. Like I didn't hit it,
Yeah.
I didn't bump it against anything. I didn't, fall. It just started hurting, and then my knee was hurting often. Like it was almost like I couldn't keep up this active lifestyle and be a vegan at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it was just pain after pain after pain after pain to the point where I remember running and it felt like, my shoulder was going to come out of its socket. Like
Damn.
it was that bad. And the final thing that kind of made me wake up and say I need to change is I was eating some vegan pizza and it was just cheese. But at some point during the pizza, something crunchy came in my mouth. And I was like, what is that? I was like, I know I told these people, vegan cheese,
Yeah.
but I discovered the crunchy thing that what I was eating was my tooth.
What?
Yeah, it was my wisdom tooth. Uh, it had cracked on some
Oh.
cheese pizza.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
and what alarmed me more was I wasn't in any pain.
So you didn't
So,
even feel it.
at all. Like when it cracked, I didn't even know. I had to like look and like, what is that? Is that a tooth? Is that my teeth? So I didn't even know what I had done. So that alarmed me. I was like, okay, that's bad because of all the nerves that are in your teeth and gums, that means it's dead.
Yeah.
That means that the nerves that ran in my teeth are no longer functioning as they should.
Yeah.
So I went to the dentist, and I was in Iraq at this time because I had moved. I went to the dentist, and he said, "Man, this tooth is dead from the inside out."
Whoa.
And I said, "Yeah, I thought that was the case." And he said, I don't mean to get in your business, but have you made any major dietary changes in the last year or so? And I said, yeah, well, I became a vegan, in 2015. And he said, I'm going to send you to the lab. What came back from the lab was I had depleted all of my vitamin D levels. Gone.
All of them.
Barely had any vitamin D left. left. And that he started explaining to me, this is why you're having these pains. This is why you're hurting. This is why your bones are hurting. And this, he said, you're actually lucky it was just your wisdom tooth. Because he was like, it wasn't going to stop. That was going to be number one, and it could have been worse. So I asked him, in your professional opinion, what should I do? And he was really hesitant, but he said, I'm not telling you what to do, but I think you need to get some meat or at least some vitamins and supplements of meat into your diet. Something high in vitamin D, something, to where it can replace what you're not putting in your body. Now, at the time, the mail was cut off in Iraq.
Okay.
It had been cut off since the last time the military had pulled out. So I didn't have an option to ship anything in or anything like that. When I went home, anything that I would need for 3 months, I would just pack it and bring it. So there was an option to FedEx or DHL stuff there, but it was really expensive. If anybody's ever shipped anything internationally, DHL, it's really, really expensive. So that's when I started to eat meat again after my tooth. And they pulled it out and let me look at it. And it was dead. Like, it was gone. Like, there was no recovering this tooth. A lot of people don't realize that your wisdom teeth go way, way up here. So it took a while for them to get this tooth out. Like, I'm sitting back in the chair like this, and they got like these pliers, just yanking, and they finally pulled it out. And I said it was black. It was black on the inside. It was gone. So that was unfortunately my experience. So I started to eat meat again. I started, with chicken. I didn't really have any adverse effects.
Well, before you go into the eating meat part, I wanna go back into the fact that when I was one of the things I noticed, it was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I started to eat meat again, I was eating a pear. I bit into it. My teeth felt like nails on a chalkboard. Like, it was just so sensitive.
Yeah.
I literally was like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah. Something going on.
Yeah, something going on, And you said something about the supplements. The doctor saying maybe you should get some supplements or something. And one thing in like the overall vegan community you'll find is that they do get like certain supplements. It doesn't really work because it's plant-based, but they do get certain supplements and stuff like that. But within our community, nobody is talking about supplements at all.
No, because like you said, a lot of the supplements, they try to get the plant-based supplements, but a lot of supplements in general are not plant-based.
Yeah.
So people are discouraged from using them, and I understand, because what's the point if you don't not going to get the supplements from if you get the supplements from animals? What's the point? So I understand what they mean, but for me, it was like my body was breaking down. And for somebody that's active as I am, I was lifting weights, I was doing all this stuff, and after about 8 or 9 months, my body was like, "Yo,
this ain't
bro, you gonna have to stop." Like, if you ain't gonna stop, we gonna keep giving you hints that you
Yeah.
need to stop
Yeah.
until you get a major injury. And I'm thankful that it was my wisdom tooth. I really
Yeah.
am. I'm thankful it was my wisdom tooth and not my shoulder or
Mhm.
my arm or my or a tooth up front that I would have to get replaced. Nobody
Yeah.
looks in the back of your mouth. Just yank it out, keep going. So and it was I had to get stitches in the back of my mouth because of that wisdom tooth. Because when they yanked it out, it broke. It cut the skin, so they had to sew it, and I had to wash my mouth out with this special mouthwash for like a week. And I couldn't drink any soda. I couldn't eat certain foods because you didn't want to aggravate the stitches.
Yeah.
So I just had to eat like you know like soups
Mhm.
and like foods that wasn't too bulky or girthy. You know,
Yeah, like old people food.
yeah, basically bunch of you know some stuff you can chew easy. And if I was
Yeah.
gonna chew, I had to chew on this side.
Yeah.
So it was an uncomfortable experience, but unfortunately that was my experience. And another thing I learned from that is you got to eat. Well, for me, I had to eat a lot when I was eating,
Yeah.
like a lot. Like I don't eat like that.
Yeah.
I eat 2, 3 meals a day, but when you vegan, man, you gotta eat. Like you gotta
Mhm.
have some food on you because you never know where you're gonna be, and you never know what the options gonna be.
Yeah.
And people, I don't care how much they say they understand. If they not vegan, they don't understand.
Yeah.
So no matter where you go, they'll be like, "Oh, let's go here. They got fries. You can eat that, right?" And now, oh, you got some fries and some broccoli. You know, trying to stay vegan. Like that's come on, man. You ain't helped me out at all. Like, come
I
on, man.
know.
But and then I quickly learned that people don't understand what no meat means.
Yeah.
Well, I got this lobster salad. That's
Yeah.
vegan, right? No. What? Damn it! I knew I should have brought my own food. So
That's what I experienced over and over and over again. And I was a biomechanics trainer, so I was like, oh no, I had like tips you can, things you can do to be vegan on the go or whatever. But the reality was, no matter what you try to do, like you said, it is really hard to be
yeah.
vegan, to be around your family because they not
Oh
vegan.
yeah. They
It's
ain't
hard
listening.
yeah, it's hard to go to restaurants because the grease may have been cooked in chicken or whatever. Like, I mean, you know what
Now
I'm saying?
my
It's so
my
many
wife
different.
and my children, they took this journey with me.
Okay.
And this was when we were just getting together. So she was all in on it. And unfortunately, my wife didn't have a good experience either. Uh, my children, I noticed once we start shifting back to, a standard diet, they
Hmm.
start growing really fast
Wow.
to where they weren't growing like that before. They were really small. They were really small kids. But
Yeah.
once we shifted back to a standard diet, they start growing really, really fast.
Wow.
And my wife had stomach issues when she was trying
Hmm.
to do the vegan thing. Just stomach issues a lot. So she didn't have the best experience either. So we ended
Yeah.
up transitioning back to a standard diet, and we've been doing that ever since.
Yeah. It's so interesting too because like that's another reason why I do these confession videos is because the children, like if you as an adult want to be vegan, you want to be on that train, fine. But I know so many people who are feeding their children a vegan diet. And not even
Yeah.
just like for a little time, like they've been doing that for years. You know what I mean? And you can see it. Their children, they look emaciated. You know what I mean? Like no fat in their face. They were really small, and it's just like like give your child a chance. But obviously, because you're wrapped up in that thought process, you're not thinking that it's the diet or you know what I mean. You don't want to lose your
Right.
money because that's what your business is or whatever. And I get it, but it's just like at least let the children grow. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so I'm
Right.
thankful that you shared that because a lot of parents don't understand that, like, no, your child is not developing as that child should on that vegan diet,
Right.
because children need cholesterol. They need stuff that's easily digestible. Like, literally, that's what's in breast milk. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
can't just jump from
You can't
easily.
replace that with sea moss
Yeah.
and all of these other things. You can't replace it with that. Unfortunately, if it was that easy, it wouldn't be a problem. But there's a lot of things that you need that you just can't replace it with any type of supplements. Um, the body of a mother knows what's best for her child.
Yes.
And she's engineered a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So when you try to replace it with other substances, sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't work. So okay, tell me, like, what was it like? I know you were well, one second. It says, I'm 5 years vegan and super active. I've never experienced any issues being injured or with my health, etc. That's fine. I think that's fine. It's definitely interesting to hear this side. Yeah, no, it's fine. That's really too the reason why I wrote self-care regulations, because as a trainer, people say that all the time. They don't experience this. They don't experience this. They don't experience that. And everybody that I've had on here has also, at some point, totally ignored certain signs that their body gave them that they were deteriorating
I
into
ignored
something
this
different.
shoulder for a long time. I was like, nah, it's got to be something else. I probably slept on it wrong. Or
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't me sleeping on it wrong. It wasn't like and my wife used to have to wrap my shoulder like
Mm.
in ice because it was just hurting, and it was crazy because when I got initiated to Ogun, I got initiated with my brother Ogun Tola, who's my spiritual brother, not my blood brother, but he was vegan. So I shared my experience with him, and he was like, you know what, man, I have the same pain in my shoulder,
Dang.
and I didn't know where it was from either. And he was like, I never thought it could be that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was uh, I think we were put in that space, that combined space, because if anybody knows anything about the initiations of the Yoruba tradition, you have to go in what's called a grove, which is a forest, and you're there, or it's a simulation of a forest, and you're there, and you're there to spend that time, to get what I call the status of spirit. So us being in that place is when he admitted that to me.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. But it's not the same for everybody. I'm
Yeah,
not
true.
saying that you're gonna go through what I went through,
Yeah.
but this is what I went through, and
Yeah.
I can only tell it, from my perspective.
Facts. Yeah, and I always encourage everybody, and I'm not saying you have to have problems with vegan or whatever. That's your experience, that's your journey, fine. However, I always encourage people, as a former biomechanics trainer. I trained NFL, MLS, NBA, LFL. I trained high level professional athletes. I'm telling you right now, you need to document yourself. You need to take pictures of yourself every 3 months. You need to document what you're looking like, what you're intaking, because it's very easy to get body dysmorphia because you don't have the fats in your brain. And you don't even see yourself not looking like the way you used to look. So I always promote, even if you're not vegan, make sure that you document yourself, because it's something that you're not giving attention to that you need to give attention to. But with that being said, I want to also really get into the spiritual aspect as well, because I hear one of the reasons why I went vegan was because I wanted to also connect to this spiritual matrix or whatever, you know what I mean? Uh, and that's promoted a lot in the community. And so, especially specifically within the African spirituality realm, within I'm going to say specifically within Isheshe, some people Isheshe Legba, some people say Ifa. Within that specifically, I see a lot of people who want to be vegan, and they promoting, the Orisha and everything like that, but they down people who eat meat. they down people who people who eat meat or whatnot, and it's like you can't do that because you clearly never really been in it. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, you in for a rude awakening if you
Yeah.
think, specifically with the Nisheshe Legba, that you are about to be vegan and follow that protocol and be within that. It's just not gonna happen. Can you just speak on that African spiritualism and veganism
Um,
within Nisheshe Legba?
within Isheshe Legba, or Isheshe Lagba, or Isheshe Esini Bile, all these words just mean primordial traditional to Yoruba people of southwestern Nigeria. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Unfortunately, their culture was not built on vegan principles. When you talk about the principle of Ebo or Mbibo, which is words for sacrifice, which can involve animal sacrifice, not all the time, but sometimes, well, most times it does. Um, that's a real thing. And we don't just sacrifice the animal and throw away the carcass. And no, that's food. That's
Yeah,
food for the village, food for the diviner, food for his family, food for neighbors, certain parts of the animal that we offer back to the divinity. So the divinities aren't vegan either. So that's just a part of the culture.
yeah,
And being that I'm an avid studier of many African cultures from west, east, north, south, you're not going to find an indigenous classical African civilization that was vegan. It's just not
right.
something they did. Um, African cultures are hunter gatherer cultures and pastoralist cultures, and the fusion of the two are how they fed their villages. Now, you won't see as much meat as you do as, say, as American diets, where it's just meat, 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 like meat all the time. Like, you won't see that, but you will see a well balance of grains, starches, of vegetables, and of different types of meat. I remember when I went to Senegal to visit my family in Senegal for breakfast, my niece brought me some potatoes and ram for breakfast. I didn't ask her for ram, but that's just what, and I didn't even know what it was. I was eating it. I said, "Man, this is kind of like lamb, but not quite. It's something a bit different, you
Yeah.
know?" And I asked her, I was like, what is this?" And she was like, "Oh, it's ram." And I was like like ram, like ram. She was like ram, like what ram?
I'm like,
I was like, oh God, it's okay. Um, but I mean, it was delicious. But it's just not a part of African culture. Before we even get to the spiritual component, it's not a part of African culture, and it's
yeah,
definitely not a part of the spiritual context of the Yoruba people. Because, like you said, if people are downing people within the culture,
mm-hmm.
you're really not in it. You
Yep.
can't be, because if you read any Odu or any Itan
Mm-hmm.
or any Pipe or Ijala or Pipe Shango or Pipo Son or any of these literature that prescribe things of sacrifice that we must adhere to alleviate problems, you're gonna see some animals.
Yep.
There's no way around that. You're gonna see some animals. I mean, I've heard of people trying to invent their own version where it's a vegan version, and if that's your own thing, got it. But
Yeah.
amongst indigenous uh Isheshe Lagba, no,
Yeah.
no. That blood is the highest concentration of energy, which is one of the reasons why we use it. When the ancients were, understanding the body, they noticed I can get rid of all these other fluids and live. But that red stuff, that's the stuff. That's the ashe. That is
Yeah.
the power. It holds power. So we use that. for different methods within ritual in Isheshe. So I always question when I hear, the vegan spiritual aspect, because I
Mm.
always ask, well, what spiritual system are you practicing? It's not an African one.
Facts.
It's probably a Hindu one
Mm-hmm.
or a Buddhist one.
Yeah.
They have those traditions. But in traditional classical African civilizations, you just won't find it.
Yeah. And I bring that up because again, like you said, the Buddha and the Buddhist and the Hindu aspects of it, yeah, but within this community, people promote it as an African thing. Like, oh, we were originally, just eating meats and just eating herbs and, fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. And the Egyptians and all these people, and it's just like you clearly I've seen people, these huge vegan influencers who pretend to be, Ocean or whatever, and put, they wear all this yellow, even though it's not technically, or her color, but they wear all this yellow and stuff like that, and giving oranges and all this kind of stuff. And it's, and everybody's comments in sunflowers and just like, oh, Ocean, goddess, and it's just like, yeah, but you just put a post out literally saying how people who eat meat are trifling and they're dirty and they stink and they're nasty, and it's just like, how does that go
It's
together?
just it doesn't, and it just shows that some people attach themselves just enough to African practices to give themselves some sort of legitimacy
Yeah.
because they know they operate within a paradigm where Africa is king. We love Africa. We venerate Africa as our mother, as the mother of not only Black people but civilization as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So they attach themselves to these African narratives and sometimes African deities just to say, "Hey, look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm I'm with y'all." But you're not really with us.
No, you're
You're
not.
not really, you're just doing that for, as the young people say, they're doing it for clout.
Yeah.
They just doing it so you could say, oh, okay, so and so is an Orisha worshiper. They're not really an Orisha worshiper. They just identify with some aspects of a divinity and
Mm-hmm.
make that divinity. They cherry pick from that divinity's attributes,
Yeah.
but they do not want to buckle down and study this culture in depth because they will quickly find that their views will be contradictory to the
Yeah.
divinity in which they pretend to worship,
Yeah.
and
Facts.
that's just what it is. I've seen people do that all the time. They go buy some Elekes, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they go buy them and wear 'em. They're not really worshipers. They're just
Yeah.
trying to fit in with the narrative that they see around. And it's very dangerous because people see you and they think that that's it. So other vegans see you and they say, "Oh, this is a tradition where I can, be vegan." And no, it's it's not. It's, and I know vegans that are Orisha worshipers, but they keep they keep that separate.
Yeah.
When it's time to eat the sacrifice, they eat of the sacrifice. They only do it
Yep.
for ritual. They don't do it in their everyday life. Every other day they're a vegan. But when Shango says he wants a ram, they well, who am I to argue with a god?
No,
you
it's
know?
like that's so true because it's just like, for me, when I first went to Sierra Leone, it was an eye opener for me because I wasn't vegan, thankfully, because that would have been hard, you guys.
Yeah.
That would have been so hard, like, and really rude. You know what I mean? Because you're literally going against the culture when you come in and you're like, no, I don't eat any meat, and people are cooking and offering food to you.
Yeah,
You
you
know
don't
what
you don't turn down African food.
I mean?
It's just like your grandmama's house. You don't turn down no food.
Mm-hmm. It's one thing if you're like allergic or whatever, but
Yeah.
but to just be like, no, I don't eat that. They may not say it to your face,
And they gonna make a face or a noise. Ah,
but trust me, you gonna
ah, ah.
know.
You know eat meat. Any meat.
Yeah.
Here, take fish.
Yeah. Crap.
Fish is not meat. They try to, they don't understand. African people don't understand that shit. Like they don't understand. You try to say you don't eat meat. They like,
Yes, exactly.
they don't
Exactly.
understand. They do not understand. Fortunately, the first time I went to Africa, I was vegan, but I was in Egypt, so it was a lot of
Okay.
Arabs, so they
Yeah.
didn't care. But
Yeah.
if I would have went to Senegal or South Africa like that,
Oh,
yeah, it would have been different. They don't understand what
not
you're
at all.
talking about. It's just not culturally a part of their paradigm.
Yeah, I say all the time when I told I'm a part of Gullah Leon Union. You know what it is, but for others who don't, it's an organization of Gullah Geechee people and others who are not Gullah Geechee. However, we are purposing to do work in Sierra Leone, helping rebuild and clean up and also
Shout out to
food.
Chief Foday.
Yeah, shout out, we're doing food security and things like that there. So one of the mommies of the village came and she was actually a traditional healer too, so she came and she was cooking for us, and I'm allergic to certain seafood, so I can't eat it. However, she was cooking and everything, and she was looking at me and she was like, oh, why you so done dry, like why you so dry, like meaning why you so skinny. And this is like when I was newly off of the vegan thing. And I was just like, I didn't eat. First off, I was like, I was vegan for like 6 years, and she was like, eh? And I'm like, I didn't eat meat for 6 years, and she looked at me so disgusted. She was like, why? Like, she
Wow.
was so disgusted with me.
Yeah, they don't understand that, man. It doesn't compute. It
Yeah,
doesn't, it's just something where they're like, well, why would you ever do that? Like,
yeah,
like it doesn't even, it's just not something we were accustomed to.
yeah. She literally
Okay, but
asked me like, why did you starve yourself? You know,
mm,
and
that's
I was
deep.
just like, very deep. And I was just like, wow, there's nothing I could say. I was just like, I thought that it was good, good for
Right.
me. And she was just like, no, don't ever do that again. You know what I mean? And I'm just sitting there
Oh
like in
man.
the school, like, whoa,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? So it's really
Yeah.
important because, like I said, you were the first person I could actually have this conversation with because of your experience and your background. And I know certain diasporic tradition, spiritual systems or whatnot may allow for you to be totally vegan, as in you don't have to give, animals and things like that. But this ain't the one, and it's okay if you're going to be vegan, but to down others who are
Yeah,
in
that's
an
not cool.
attempt,
Cause,
and then
cause
saying
if
that you're a
if
part of it.
I'm dirty and nasty for eating meat, then are our ancestors dirty and nasty savages for
You
eating
know,
meat? You start to sound like a white supremacist really quickly.
very much.
You
You
start you
know,
start repeating arguments, uh, you know, that they said about our ancestors in a derogatory fashion very quickly.
yeah,
Um, and I would argue it's because the diet that you have adopted isn't of your ancestors.
facts.
So your when you start to eat like a people and live their culture,
Hmm.
you take on more than just dietary changes or dress, or you start to think like the people that has become your new lifestyle. So you have to be very cognizant
Hmm.
of the arguments that you make, and because it doesn't. You're not just insulting me. You're
Hmm.
not just insulting Black Panther,
Yeah,
because what
facts.
I represent isn't just me.
Hmm.
It's my whole ancestral lineage. My strive to re-Africanize people and get them back towards their traditions, which is my mission.
Yeah,
So you're insulting an entire culture. So
yeah,
people should be cognizant of that, depending on who they're talking
yeah. Seriously, you should definitely be cognizant that even if you are going to continue to be a vegan, you don't have to demonize,
to. Right.
the meat eating, because, like I said, for you to be walking around here trying to pretend like you are like you have this affinity to whatever deity or whatever, and then this deity is requiring elbow of guinea hen. Like, what are you gonna do? It just doesn't work, you know. And you know, to a lot of people who aren't aware of that, that's something that can be a shock when you're looking at other people, you're seeing what they're going through, and you're like, oh, you know, I choose to walk down that path, and then it's like, yeah, well, you know, you get this reading, you get to see dark and then it's like, now you need to make it one. And it's just plain like that.
I say everybody wants to wear beads until it's time to spill some blood.
Yep, facts. And you be
Really what
sitting
it
there
is.
looking like he's gonna be shot, you
Or
know, and
or 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 it's really when you see people hold birds for the first time.
that part.
You're shaking.
And
Like,
take
you
that.
hold this bird, be quiet. Like, but you know, unfortunately,
See?
I mean, African culture is real in the field. I mean, it's you're gonna
For
have to do
real.
some things. You know, it's really manly, rough stuff. Part of being an African priest of any African tradition, you're gonna become a butcher.
Yep.
You're gonna learn how to cut that thing up and pluck a bird and pluck it off the feathers and cut it up.
Mm-hmm.
That's food, man. You're gonna learn that. Like,
Yeah.
that's constant. That's
Facts.
constant. So it's just unfortunate that people feel like they have to insult others because of
Yeah.
dietary choices, but you can't base your defense off an African culture because they just don't have that paradigm of
Yeah.
veganism.
Yeah. True. True. You know, it's so interesting. I was talking to my baba and I was just like, yeah, I was vegan for so long. He was like, you were? He was like, I could never do that. He was just like, I could just never, because of his position alone, he could
Yeah,
never do it.
it's gonna be impossible.
Yeah, you know. So I want to know, like, what did you experience when you? I know you weren't vegan for like you said a year and a half or so. But what did you experience when you started to eat meat again, and what did you notice in your body, in your health?
All the pain went away.
Wow,
Like, all the little nicks and injuries I was experiencing, it just within the first couple of weeks, it just went away.
wow,
It took a while for my shoulder to get all the way back right, but it did alleviate some pressure.
mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, all my little knickknacks and pains, they went away. I didn't really, I didn't experience I guess some people experience like kind of like a intestinal
Yeah,
stomach shock when they start eating meat again after not
mm-hmm.
eating it for so long. I didn't get any of that.
Me neither.
But yeah, I just all the little pains went away. Uh, I saw increased strength in the gym because I was lifting weights a lot at that point.
Hmm.
And those are basically the two changes that I saw a lot.
Yeah.
Um, I gained some weight back that I had lost. Um, and that was something I didn't cover. I got a little too thin uh
Mm.
on the veganism track, and no disrespect to anybody, but I wasn't born, or I do not desire to have the um the marathon runner frame.
It's a
I
good way to put it.
I don't wish to run marathons, nor do I wish to look that thin. I like
Yes.
to have some, so my woman
Yeah.
to be comfortable, being around me, like she ain't got to
Yes.
worry, and I got thin. I think I got down. I'm 6'3".
Okay.
I got down at one point to like 200, 205, and I hadn't been 205 since like college. But I was
Dang.
really thin. Um, you know. So I tell people, you try to lose weight, 90 days, yeah, go for it. It's gonna work.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I got down too much. Um, so
Mm,
I noticed I got my weight back with
yeah,
the meat, and I just been rocking it out like that ever since.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't have intestinal issues either. Literally, it was like I was having intestinal issues from eating all the fiber from the vegetables.
Mm.
But as soon as I started eating meat again, it was just like, finally. I mean, my body just absorbed it. It wasn't even, it was just, I didn't have any problems with it, you know?
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah. What meat did you start back eating when you first ate?
The first thing I started at, I got some chicken tenders from the local dining facility. I got some chicken tenders because it was right after the doctor had told me it was that
Mhm.
dinner. So I went and got some chicken tenders and some barbecue sauce and throw that up.
Did it feel, did you have that like, I've been starving type of feeling when you were eating the chicken?
No, but I did have that I miss chicken,
Yeah.
I miss this. I did.
Yes.
It is okay. You can admit that. And I miss the chicken. And some vegans just piss me off because they're like, I don't miss it at all. I don't miss nothing about it. I said, then why are you going to the grocery store getting this Beyond Meat this, Beyond
Facts.
Chicken, Beyond
Yeah.
Pork, Beyond
Yeah.
this? You miss it.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely miss it.
You miss it. I don't care what you say, because if you didn't, you would just be straight raw vegan vegetable and wouldn't even go to the Beyond section. But you're all in the Beyond section looking for Beyond Meat sausages, Beyond cheese, Beyond
Oh
this.
my
You need to get beyond yourself and just
god.
admit it.
Yeah.
You need to just be real with yourself. It's okay to say I miss certain parts of this lifestyle. It's okay. But no, they want to be so hardcore. And I'm like, man, I ain't listening to you.
I've never tried to make like now that I'm eating meat again. I've never ever tried to make my steak taste like broccoli. I've never tried to do that.
The
I
only thing
I
that
mean,
pisses me off is the vegan hot wings. Because I'm a hot wing guy.
yeah, the cauliflower wings.
If you want to piss me off, I just don't understand why you have to make vegan everything. Just stick
Yeah.
with the fruits and the vegetables and the grain. You don't have to try to make like everything can't be vegan. Like I do enjoy a good black bean burger every once in a
Yeah, of course.
while, but everything can't be vegan. Like what's next? Vegan cognac? Like what?
Ew.
Everything
They
cannot
gonna
be
try.
vegan. Like it don't taste good.
It doesn't. It doesn't taste
Natural
the same
fruits and
thing.
vegetables taste fine. You don't have to like
Yes.
some of this stuff they just go too far, in my opinion. Like vegan hot wings is just too far. Like that's not hot wings. Like that just I'm sorry, that just makes me upset.
No, it's true. Dice said it's the fake chicken with a little stick in it for me. Yes. It'd be like a glob with
Like
you
what
know.
is this?
Oh my god! And people would be like, "Oh, it's just for people transitioning." And it's like you've been vegan for 10 years
Yeah, you ain't
now.
transitioning. Some of y'all ain't never transitioned. Some of y'all are playing around. You supposed to be
Straight up,
transitioning. You in that section every week. You ain't
every
transition.
week,
How long is this transition?
a lifetime apparently. It's ridiculous, and it's just like when I first was vegan, I was like, "Why y'all keep eating stuff that look like meat? That makes no sense. Like, just eat the fruits and vegetables." And then
Oh,
when I started to go downhill, I was like, "Oh."
let me get this vegan Beyond Bacon.
Even trying to make the burgers bleed, you know what I mean?
Man,
With the beet juice,
it's intense. It's
it's too much.
intense. I'm
It's
like,
like,
nah,
what are we accomplishing here? I thought
nothing.
this was to get away from that.
And for much as people talk about chemicals, you would think they wouldn't mess with that stuff. That
Yeah,
stuff got, chemicals as well. But,
super,
you
super
know,
chemical.
I don't understand. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. And you look on the back of this, and the rhetoric is, oh, don't eat anything you can't pronounce. But when you look on the back of Beyond Meat and all this Beyond stuff, it's like I can't pronounce this either.
None of it. I don't even know what it is.
You know,
I don't
it's
know what it
ridiculous.
is.
And it's more dangerous, really, than the meat that they claim to that's so bad for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I just let people do what they do. But
Yeah.
for me, I'm back on the meat. I ain't getting off.
So what do you eat now?
Everything. No, I try to my wife is an amazing cook. So with it's always a balanced meal with vegetables and grains and meats and fruits and it's really a
Yeah.
balanced meal. I really enjoy it. She makes my lunch for me, so I
Yeah.
don't have to go to the fast food or whatever. So I really try to keep it balanced, and I drink a lot of water.
Okay.
Um, I basically drink water with all my meals. I drink a half gallon of water a day.
Okay. That's
Uh,
good.
so yeah, and when I'm not drinking water, I'm drinking coconut water. So
Yeah.
that's one thing that I instill in my practice is drinking a lot of water.
Hmm. Yeah, I just asked because I know sometimes people go from one extreme of veganism to the other extreme, and I know like
I'm never touching a
sometimes,
vegetable. It's all gonna
yeah,
be meat all month. Pork chops, ribs, pepperoni pizza. And then they gain all the weight back. They're like, oh, hey, man, you can't substitute no meat for all meat.
yeah,
That ain't good either, brother.
yeah. And it's like when I first went back to eating meat, I did have to let go of raw vegetables and stuff. I could only do like fruits and cooked and fermented vegetables just because it would
Oh, you was
cause
a
muscle.
raw vegan.
Well, no, I wasn't raw vegan, but I just couldn't eat like raw vegetables for a while because it would cause
Uh,
so much spasms in my stomach. I just couldn't do it.
I don't do raw vegetables at all. At least steam them. They gotta be cooked something. First of all, raw
But
vegetables are tough to eat. Like
yes,
they be putting up a fight.
they do.
They
They
put
put
a
up a
I,
fight.
and I've always asked people why plants aren't looked at like
Hmm.
animals.
Yeah.
Uh, because the first thing people say is, well, that animal died. I'm like, well, that plant is dead as well,
Yes.
because you picked it. I remember this Harvard study where they talked about they put these sensors on plants,
Hmm.
and it was kind of like a frequency or something that they were measuring, and they could hear the plant screaming, like
Hmm.
when you picked like leaves from it and stuff. So it's the same process. You're no different or better than me
Yeah.
because you don't eat no meat. I mean, plants don't have red blood. Their blood's usually green,
Yeah.
so it's not a different process, but people feel like they're superior because what they have for breakfast is kind of funny.
It is. And I was on that whole like, oh, you want to do like that you want to keep the life in the plant, so you don't want to cook it as much. I was on that, and that was the reason why I would try to like barely cook my vegetables. But when I stopped being vegan, I literally my last vegan meal, my intestines were literally it looked like I was pregnant and the baby was kicking. Like it was so bad.
Mm.
I was just like, whoa, and I couldn't eat raw, and I don't eat them now. Now it's either fermented or cooked vegetables. I don't even eat salads and stuff like that. I really don't even do because it's just like I don't need it. I just eat the dark leafy greens that I cook and the things like that.
Yeah,
But
you
like
ever
fruit,
tried to
yeah,
bite into a raw broccoli? Man, they're
yes,
gonna put up
it
a
is not
fight.
pleasant.
Damn, a raw cauliflower?
It is,
Nah, I ain't
and
in that business. I was never in
it's
that
too
business.
hard.
Now, I was never in the raw vegan
You was never
business.
right.
Nah, I was never. I looked at it and I was like,
No.
nah, I'm gonna have to cook mine, man. I'm sorry. I can't get with the raw. Like I need a little seasoning, a little, and I ain't not there.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not there.
all those cashew cheeses that you pour on top of it and dip it in. It's not worth it, guys. It's
Nah,
not
I'm
worth it. Your teeth will thank you. Trust me.
yeah,
Um,
these fruits and vegetables put up a fight. They really do. I'm telling you.
yeah.
They put up a
All
fight.
right. Well, let me ask you, like, what would you like to say to other people who are currently vegan and experiencing issues on a vegan diet?
Get your information from people that have actually studied nutrition.
Yes.
Do not believe things at face value. If you hear something from a popular lecturer, a popular YouTube personality, hell, even me, go
Mm-hmm.
find the source that that comes from, and don't be afraid to ask for the source. Don't be afraid to ask these people where they got it from. And if you get adverse reactions for asking where they got it from, it's probably because they made it up.
Facts.
People make up stuff all the time in this community because nobody actually asks and checks them. So ask. Where'd you get what source, what reference, what study, what experiment, what journal of nature is that in? Science is not a white person thing. Science is an African thing because we were the first
Yes.
the first scientists on the planet. We were the first
Say
chemists. We were the first biologists. All of this comes from inner Africa. So
indeed.
have to uh, feel a certain type of way for asking where the source of information comes from. And
Yeah.
that's something that people should get into. Get into science.
Yeah.
Get into science and find out what these terms people throw around mean. When people say that Otto Warburg won a Nobel Peace Prize for saying that mucus was the source of all disease, study that dissertation he wrote because he didn't say that.
Mm.
That's not what he said, like at all. But people have twisted his
So,
experiment to fit their narrative because
mm,
they have something to sell you. They have something to put in your home. Some new cellulose, new colon cleanse,
mm-hmm.
something that's not tested, something that no one really knows what it does. It's all a bunch of claims, you know.
Yep.
So get your information from people that do this for a living because I don't I don't like to see people in the position that I was in,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to put this on people's heart. Elijah Muhammad wrote books called Eat to Live. Dr. Ben or Yosef Ben Yakanan ate pork
Mm-hmm.
all the time. Dr. Yosef Ben Yakanan outlived Elijah Muhammad in
Mm.
years. So did John Henrik Clark, who was not a
Mm.
vegan as well. Elijah Muhammad died sick.
Dang.
Now, that goes against the narrative that most people put out there. If you vegan, you ain't never gonna be sick, you ain't never gonna have to worry, you fine, you eating other earth, all that other stuff. Then you're gonna have to explain why our dear brother Dr. Africa just passed and people in his age bracket that are not vegans still walking around.
Say that.
So it can't be that you're gonna absolutely all the time live long. Can't be
Mm-hmm.
that. So you're gonna have to find another argument because we already have the data that says that's not true. Also look at cancer rates with certain people.
Mm.
Look at cancer rates in vegans and vegetarians.
Mm.
You're going to see some startling information. So
Dang.
I would tell people, please get your information from people who do this for a living. And if you are a black person,
Mm-hmm.
you identify with being black, African American, African, anywhere in between, understand that the diet that comes from your culture is not a veganism. And if
Yes.
you wish to return to such culture, you should consider looking and seeing what that diet is.
Mm-hmm. That's so powerful. I'm so glad you said that because number one, I didn't even know that they all outlived them. However, my grandmother's 93, 94 years old and she ate bacon and eggs in the morning. You know what I mean? And it's like you're right. These vegan teachers, they're not living that long, you guys. They sit here and you got
No.
people have these what we call outliers in science. These rare cases where somebody's living long doing something, and oftentimes they start at that middle of their life, not from the beginning. And you just be like, oh, they're a centenarian and they're vegan. It's like, yeah, but they can barely move. You know what I mean? And yet we have our literal grandparents who grew up eating meat and they're outliving them all.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Unfortunately, we have to revisit that narrative. We have.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that. Well, I honestly, I'm thankful to have you on here. I'm thankful that you took the time to speak to us and share your story. I know this was your first time saying it. You really gave us some true perspective here because like I said, this is the first time I could really go in about the cultural and spiritual side of things, because of your experience, your Ogun priest, and just that alone takes things to a different level beyond what a lot of people promote about Africa and the food of Africa. You know what I mean? And many of them have never been to Africa, by the way, you guys. They've never been.
Yeah, and they ain't going.
They're
Another
not.
tidbit that people may not know, Dr. Sebi tried to spread his doctrine in South Africa
Wow.
years ago. South Africans ran him up out of
I didn't know that.
there. Yeah, they said, nah, you got to go. We're not doing this. Them Sangomas ain't going for that. And the Sangomas are a priest of the Zulu people, Shaka Zulu people.
That's amazing. I'm so thankful for that. And please, I'm gonna give you a chance to let people follow you. Dr. Saber did dissect, and he's really
Yes.
not even a doctor. We just
No, he's
call him
not.
that because it's so common.
None of these vegan gurus are doctors.
None of them. That's why I
It's just
check myself and I
kind of
say
like a
Dr.
pet name. The doctor is like a pet name for them.
Yeah,
It's
it
not.
is.
It's not an actual certification.
It's not.
Y'all can find everything that I do in the link in my bio. Black Panther Sahara Linktree. It's in my bio on my Instagram page. It will have my website. It will have my YouTube page. It will have the Mossy Warrior Clan YouTube page. It will have the 2 Pan-African journals I've produced. It will have my children's books that I've produced. I'm sorry, it's a lot in there. I think it has our clothing line, Family Connect, which we share with the brothers in Gambia. And yeah, just click on the link. Oh, my African Spirituality Masterclass is also in there as well. So click the link in my bio. Everything's in there.
Thank you so much. By the way, that class, amazing. I really loved it.
Thank you.
I truly enjoyed that. Yeah. You guys, if you are looking to learn more about African spirituality, make sure you go check that out because this class very affordable. However, it is extremely knowledgeable, and you will feel more educated just by watching the lectures and learning. I really love how you spaced it out in the topics that you covered as well. So this brother is a heavy hitter. He is not just somebody who just kind of just like stepped on a few articles on Google or whatever. He does his research. He's, boots on the ground. And he has other brothers as well in his the Maasai Warrior clan, right?
Yeah. Maasai Warrior clan. We always say spirits is flying, pseudos is crying. They make excuses. We keep producing.
Yes. Hey, I like that. Yeah, because that's exactly what it is. So I'm really thankful that you took the time to come and share that with us today. I was really just kind of like, whoa, when you told me that this is the first time. So I'm thankful because, again, you dropped not only a lot of people are scared to use names, and I'm thankful that you were courageous enough to just call it like it is, and not hold back, because this is what people need. Because oftentimes the people that are watching, or the people that are following these dogmas and doctrines, are following, the people that you name. So it's
There's
very
no
important.
disrespect to anybody, but
Facts. No
I don't
disrespect.
fear anybody anyway. So if it's a
Facts.
problem, they know where to find me.
Love it. Okay. All right. Well, like you said, make sure you follow him at Black Panther Masai. Let me put it right here. Link in the bio as well. Excuse me. Make sure you check out the link in his bio so that you be able to support what he's doing, follow what he's doing, educate yourself, and really get. I would. One thing I love about what you do is that it's a paradigm shift, I believe, for our community, because it's accountability at its finest, and it's not
Yep.
just a bunch of people who say they can do something. It's backed information, researched information, and it literally is peer reviewed information. You know what I mean? So it's
Yep.
amazing. I love that.
We got it. We have a responsibility to give our people the best information that's available to us that they can use to transform their lives and shape their worldview and move us in the right direction. So that's what we do.
All right. Well, I appreciate you for being on. This will be saved, everyone, and I'll send you the link once I upload it to YouTube, so you can, send it if you like. And thank you so much again, Modupeo, and Odaro.
Kotope Rara, Odaro,
Odaro.
Odabo.